This is a Kay acoustic guitar, model number G101, manufactured by the Kay Guitar Company. And I bought this guitar over 30 years ago, probably about 35 years ago, for my children. As you can see, it's a small body. It's what we call a travel guitar, but it's good for children or small people. If you compare it to a full-size guitar like this Takamine, then you can see it's considerably smaller. It's 25% smaller than a regular dreadnought. Some people get this mixed up with a Parlor guitar. This is a travel guitar and it's 25% shorter than a standard guitar, whereas a Parlor guitar is 20% shorter than a regular guitar. So that's the difference. There's 5% in it. Now, I bought this guitar for my children, as I said, to play with, and they've had it for years. And they're all grown up now, and now I've got grandchildren who are coming up. I asked my children, I said, where's that guitar? My son had it. And I said, well, let me have it back and I'll fix it up. So I've got it back and I'm going to fix it up. And so I had to go to the guitar shop to get some bits and pieces, some new strings, and I asked the guy about it. And he said, oh, it's just an old Spanish guitar, just put some nylon strings on it. So I bought the nylon strings. But this has always had steel strings. Anyway, when we was in the shop, the guitar shop guy pointed out that the top of the fretboard, that fret right beside the nut, and he said that is a 0 fret. And I said, oh, okay. And so, thinking about that, I ended up going down a massive rabbit hole on the internet researching this guitar, and I found a whole load of stuff which is obviously for another video. I'm just going to fix this one up, but before I do anything I needed to do some research on it, and I discovered an incredible amount of history on this company in particular, and an incredible history, and I'll relate some of that to you as I go along. But basically I was just going to fix it up, but like I said before, the deck is very nice and flat, so we know it's in good shape. The action on the fretboard is very low, and it's very easy to play. And then I started looking at this guitar in a bit more detail. At first glance it looks like a piece of old trash, but then when you start looking at it in detail you start to realise there's a lot of design features on there. There's a lot of things on this guitar that don't really add up to a cheap guitar. Like the neck, it's got this joint on the back of it. The neck is super flat, okay? It's got that 0 fret on there, and there's a lot of things on this guitar that you think, well, if this is such a cheap guitar, why did they go to all that trouble to make these refinements? And that kind of got me going. That got me going down a rabbit hole. I'm going to fix this one up. I'm going to clean it up, and obviously it's going to take a bit of time. I'm going to do a thorough inspection on the inside. I'm going to change these strings, make sure everything's safe and secure on the inside. Check the soundboard. The machine heads are pretty gunky, so I'm going to have to take them off and give them a thorough clean. They're very stiff as well. They're quite stiff, some of them. So I'm going to have to take them off and clean them. But yeah, this has turned out to be quite an interesting little project. I'm trying to figure out what the wood is. The top looks to me to be spruce. It looks like it's very open grain spruce, and the sides are a very tight grain. There's a very tight grain on the, and on the back, on the back, it's actually matched. The wood on the back is actually matched. This is 2 pieces of wood that have been matched. So the more I look at this guitar, the more I'm thinking, what is going on here? I can't even remember what shop I bought it in, but I think it was in, obviously in London somewhere, but I can't remember what shop I bought it in. But it's got this little K badge on it, that means it's one of two things. It's either a mid-60s, it could be a mid-60s guitar built in America, or it could be a late 60s guitar that was built in Japan. Either way, it's a great guitar. It plays really well. One of the things I discovered while researching this guitar is the reason this neck is so straight is because there's an iron bar inside there to keep it straight. I mean, why would you do that on a cheap guitar? It's like, but it works. So there's a kind of conflict in my head about this guitar, but it survived and it sounds okay. It sounds good, even with crap strings and a busted saddle. It sounds okay, and it holds a tune. So it goes back to what I was saying before about if the guitar was good in the first place in the past, it will still be good in the future. And apparently, although I was buying guitar for my kids to play with, it looks like I bought another decent guitar. The more you look into these Kay guitars, you start to see that people actually really do like them. I was going to fix it up for the grandkids, but I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should actually stick it up on the wall, you know, like some kind of, nah, I'm going to fix it up for the grandkids. Interesting rediscovery in the family attic, so to speak. I want to see how this turns out. I'm glad that I've got some sound samples of what it sounds like now and what it looks like, and I'll be interested to see how this fingerboard comes up. I mean, that's what's bugging me. That's what's really intriguing me, is that stock, that there. Why would you do that on a cheap guitar? Why would you have a neck made from one solid piece of wood when a scarf joint is much cheaper? I'm a carpenter, so I know about these things. This is intriguing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.